Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I'm honored to connect in with you on the author's journey, where we have candid, real conversations with dynamic, best-selling authors that pull back the curtain and really share what their journey's like. And our intention is to support you on your journey, to inspire you, to encourage you, give you tips and insights, and share what the journey is really like to bring your book forward, to bring your message forward, to help it reach the people that it's called to reach. In order to get the most out of our time together today, I encourage you to take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, bringing yourself fully present. I encourage you to have a piece of paper or a notepad nearby where you can capture notes or thoughts or, I never thought of doing that before. Those types of insights or ideas that come to you so you can capture them and use them in your own writing journey. Because here's what I know, that if you feel that pull, that prompt to bring something forward, to share something, that's because it's needed. That information, that perspective, that insight, that way of looking at the world, that voice, that perspective is needed. And one of the biggest gifts you can give the world is being willing to lean in, say yes, and find a way to bring it forward. And that's why I'm just so honored to have you joining us today. I know you're going to love our amazing guest as she shares her journey of bringing her book forward called Fly. Let me take a moment to introduce her. Her name is Sheri Glantz. She is a 5-term elected official in her community, a special education teacher by profession, a music teacher, and a lifelong writer. And now, a #1 international best-selling author gets added to that powerful mix. She has been a sought-after and in-demand writer of speeches, poems, songs, and parodies that both entertain and reflect important insights. She is passionate about always finding something to be grateful for, and every single day there is always a silver lining. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful and heart-centered Sheri Glantz to the show. Welcome!
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
You are welcome. I'm just thrilled to have you joining us, excited for the conversation. And I wanted to start our conversation with your book, your most recent book called Fly, that you recently released out into the world. And it was released originally as a Kindle format. And then I know the print book is coming out very, very soon. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about what this book is, how you would describe it. I know I think of it as a children's book for all ages, that it just has powerful messages that can serve on and encourage so many of the steps that we take in life, really being able to fly and soar. I'd love for you, in your words, to describe the book and share why it became important to you to bring it forward.
Well, thanks so much for having me, and also thanks for asking. This book was written when my middle child was graduating from preschool and moving on to that big bad world of kindergarten. And I remember at the time exactly how I felt. I was bittersweet. I was emotional. I was trying to picture what his life was going to be beyond that yellow school bus that was going to be taking him away from me. So I sat down and I wrote. And then after thinking about it for just a very short time, I thought, this would be a really good book because I know that other parents feel that same way. But sometimes it's just so hard to put feelings that strong into writing. And for me personally, it's so much easier for me to grab the nearest piece of scrap paper and a pen or pencil and just write them down instead of trying to articulate them verbally. And so that was what I did. I grabbed my paper and my pencil, and I just simply started writing about what my hopes and my dreams were for my child, what I wanted for him in his future. The idea that what I could give him was the encouragement that whatever he wanted to do, he could do. Whatever he wanted to be, he could be. And just making sure that I provided those roots and wings, roots to keep him grounded and wings to let him fly.
Mm. So beautiful. And I'm curious, how many years ago was that?
Oh, that was about 22 years ago. And I wrote the poem. I sketched it out because, like I said, after thinking about it for a short amount of time, I thought, I think this could really resonate with so many people who are at a crossroads of moments with their child, whether, for me, it just happened to be going from preschool to kindergarten. Other parents, it could be when the kids go away to college, when they're starting high school, when they have just gotten their first job. There are just so many moments that feel like these crossroads that you're just wishing from the deepest part of your being for your child to be happy, successful. And happiness and success don't mean the same thing to everybody. And I think that's something important that we all need to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing when you wrote the poem initially and started to craft this, and then this prompting 20 years later to bring it forward and to have it support and share so many of those parents that are in this transition and trying to capture the words and the thoughts and the emotions to share with their child to help them, whatever age that child is, really shine and soar in those transitions and those steps. I so appreciate that and your willingness to answer that prompting, to lean in and to say yes and bring it forward. And I think it's such a testament that it was so powerfully received. In fact, I wanted to read something to you because you just were recording this on April 26th. So it was just last week when it was released initially, the book.
Yes.
And
yes.
I just, and I know it goes by so fast. And here's just a quick snapshot of what happened. It became a bestseller within 2 hours of launch, a #1 bestseller within 3 hours, an international bestseller, and a #1 bestseller, so the highest ribbon, within 12 hours of launch, reaching a total of 24 categories, best-selling categories, 4 of them #1. Like, it was just so powerfully received so quickly. Those are phenomenal results to happen within 12 hours. And
thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations again. So exciting. And I hope that just, again, is an affirmation of answering that call, saying yes, being willing to bring it forward because it was so needed. And that's just the beginning, right? Because the print book's coming out soon. Even more hearts and lives are going to be touched. And that's exciting to see. And so I'm curious.
Yeah, and that's, I was going to say, and that's actually my hope, is that people read it and that it resonates. I guess what I like to try to do with my writing is to put into words what some people find it very difficult to put into words verbally.
Beautifully. And you're able to do that and help them put words to the emotion and the thoughts and the experience.
Thank you.
So absolutely. So powerful. And so I just got the note here. We are getting ready to go to our first commercial break. It goes so fast. So as we do that, listeners, I want you to think about what Sheri has said, and I want you to think about, do you have something that has been laid on your heart? And maybe you even started creating it a while ago, and yet you're feeling this prompting, this pull, that perhaps it's ready or it's needed for such a time as this. I want you to ask that question, to sink in, really seek and feel. Think about what she has shared. And when we come back from our break here, we're going to continue the conversation. We'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
The Internet's #1 talk station. #1 talk station. VoiceAmerica.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, that opportunity to really pause, listen, feel in, explore. Do you have something that is speaking to you? It's asking to come forward. Maybe it's something you started a while back or more recently that is asking to come forward, and you have pondered, perhaps it is for such a time as this. And I want to encourage you to listen in closely, to really hear some of what that experience is like, and to find a step that you can take today to bring your message forward. Whether it's in a written format, it's in a speaking format, whatever it is, answering that call to bring your wisdom, your insight, your perspective to the world, because it's absolutely needed. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel that pull. You wouldn't feel that calling. So we're continuing our amazing conversation with Sheri. Very excited. We were sharing some of the statistics from her launch and how quickly it went and what she had achieved in just such a short amount of time, in just 12 hours, #1 international best-selling book, and a little bit of what that was like in her desire, what she hopes the readers get out of her book. And I'm just reflecting back on that, Sheri, and I'm very curious, when you think back on the journey, because I know it moved very quickly. When you created the book and then you decided to do a best-selling launch and you took these steps, is there a favorite moment, something that just kind of sticks in your heart and your spirit from that journey that was really special to you?
Yeah, I mean, there have been many, but I think one thing that really stands out in my mind, as I mentioned, I sketched out the illustrations, just what my vision was. And I assure you that I am not an artist. So I contacted somebody I knew who is just a phenomenal artist, a woman named Tori Nelson. And I shared my chicken scratch sketches with her. And I told her exactly what I envisioned for my illustrations, the colors, the style, and the characters and such. And she took notes. She said, okay, I think I got it. And then a few days later, she sent me just some examples. And when I saw her examples, they were exactly what I wanted. And I guess that moment, I thought, oh my goodness, she has breathed life into this book, into my horrible sketches. And it was as if everything that I was visually seeing in my head came to life. What I'm feeling comes out in poetry form automatically. That's my default. But I could not do that with my art. So when I saw her illustrations, I thought, wow, this is what I was trying to convey artistically in my illustrations.
That must have been so powerful to see what was in your head come to life and to breathe that imagery into your poem, into your story. Must have been very magical. So I love that. Love that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I knew you were very deliberate in some of what you wanted in the images that were used and in your cover. And I'd love for you to take a moment and share a little bit about that and why it was important, some of the choices that were made around the imagery and the cover in particular. I'd love for you to share kind of the inside scoop on that.
I would love to do that because there are so many little nuances in the illustration that even when you read the book, you would not pick up on those things because they're just from my heart. And one of those things is the yellow heart. So the title of the book is Fly with an exclamation point, and the exclamation point has a heart instead of a dot, yellow heart. And for me, I first of all, I love the color yellow because I just happen to think that it's happy and positive and optimistic. And it's sort of like it's my brand or my way of conveying love and caring and happiness. So I have the yellow heart on the cover, and you can see it in the book. It's in the book. Actually, it's on the home. It's on the door. The other thing that is significant, there are a couple other things. First of all, I do have my maiden name on the book, Sheri Glantz, and I never really went by Sheri Glantz. It was just Sheri Glantz. But after thinking about it, I have to think that the reason I put it in there is just sort of a nod to my father, who passed away when he was very young. And, I was trying to figure out why it was important to me to have my maiden name on there. And I think that's why, to me, it's sort of a way of keeping him alive. So that was something I kind of just figured out along my journey. So that was good. Then the other thing that I love about the illustrations and the cover, we see a path on the cover and several times throughout the book. And on the cover, you can see the word life etched into it. Like on first glimpse, you may not see it, but if you study it, it's there. The other thing about the path is that it's curved and winding, and the edges of the path are not severe lines. And that's very intentional because my feeling is that life is rarely ever a straight path. There are always twists and turns and curves and unexpected things that crop up. And we should be prepared for that as best we can. And no hard edges. That was another thing that I told Tori, my illustrator, was I didn't want any hard edges because, again, life is rarely lived between two hard lines. We're always stepping over a line a little bit, one way or the other. And those edges, it's okay if those edges are blurred. It's perfectly okay. It's like when you were a little kid and you had a coloring book and maybe you were encouraged to stay inside the lines. But you know what? Not everybody rolls that way. And it's okay to color outside the lines, just like it's okay to put your toe over the line a little bit to test the waters to see if maybe you want to go a different way. So those are some of the things that in the illustrations, at least like on the cover, that we see.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love that. I didn't know about the yellow heart. I knew about some of the others. Yeah, so every time I talk to you, I love it. I learn another layer, another piece. That's just beautiful. Right. So as you think about what it took to bring the book forward and what that experience was like, and there was this gap from when the original poem was written to bringing it forward now, what helped you, what made you decide now is the time, and what helped you bring it from idea, thought to reality?
I think that's really an important question because if I'm brutally honest with you, the reason why it just sat in my folder for all these years is quite honestly, I did not have the confidence to bring it forward before. So what helped me? So going back to my saying that I always knew it would make a good book, I always knew that I was conveying thoughts and feelings that might be otherwise hard to articulate. I started testing the waters a little bit just on Facebook. I write all the time. That's just what I do. And I think my earliest recollection of writing down my feelings or when something impacted me was probably in the 4th grade. So that's quite a long time now. But I began testing the waters on Facebook. So when some big event happened in the world, I would write about it and I would post it on Facebook. Because I could read something to my mom and she'd say, "Oh, Sheri, that's terrific." Or my husband, "Oh, great job." But you just never really know how other people feel about it. People who don't have to say kind things to you. So I did start testing the waters by putting some things on Facebook, just to get a little bit of feedback. And you know what? I got positive feedback, and I realized from some of the comments that I truly was putting into words what people were thinking or feeling. So that gave me, I guess, the boost of confidence I needed to say, you know what, it might be just about time to get this rolling.
Beautiful. I love that. So you started to share it. You tested the waters, put that toe over the line.
And by the way, when I started putting things on Facebook, that too was a very intentional act for me, because I thought, well, if people don't like what I have to say and how I say it, then maybe we'll just put fly to bed and it'll just be my little thing. But it worked out the other way, and I'm thrilled about it. I'm thrilled.
I love it. I love that you leaned in and brought it forward. So thank you for sharing, because I feel like there are a lot of people listening today that have wondered, is this something to bring forward? How do I get through some of those voices in our head, or just the people that are always kind to me, saying kind things, and really test at bringing it forward?
Absolutely. And here's the other thing. For people who may have a book socked away somewhere, or maybe a book still inside their head, something I've learned over the past few years is just that you have to go with what you do best. You shouldn't try to emulate somebody else's style, somebody else's voice, somebody else's anything else. That if you have a voice, you should share it, because you're only the best at being yourself. Nobody else can be as good at being you as you are, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Underline explanation point. Yes.
Right.
Love that, Cher. And I know that we've been talking a lot about your book, Fly. They can get it on Amazon. The print book will be out soon, if not already, by the time they're listening to the show. And I'd love for you to take a moment. I know you prepared a reading for us, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about what this is, why you elected to share it today, and then to have you share it with us.
I would be happy to. So the book was actually written in 2 different sittings, 7 years apart. And again, it was my imaginings of what my child would do, what he would be, what I wanted for him. So I chose today to read what was really the original poem. Now, granted, I did tweak a couple of things from the original poem that might have dealt more specifically with my child, and I changed just a couple of things to put it into the book so it would be more generic. And I thought that the first part of it would certainly suffice, and you can get a feel for what I was thinking, what I was feeling when I was thinking about my son going from his little protected preschool environment to, a public school kindergarten. I mean, that was tough for me. And I look back now, I'm thinking it was just kindergarten. But in that moment, it was a whole other world. I just couldn't even imagine it. So whenever you're ready, I've got my book. I'm ready to read.
We are ready.
Okay, so here goes. Okay. Those early years, now left behind, one thought keeps swirling through my mind. I'll stand there and you'll wave goodbye, and silently, I'll tell you fly. My tiny baby, once so new, the world is big, now so are you. I wish for you so many things, but most of all, for sturdy wings. So you can, sorry, I'm turning the page, so you can fly and freely soar, to see the world and fly some more. With endless skies for you to roam, you'll never be too far from home. I'll be with you for flight and when you need a gentle lift again. Precious child, the world is yours, filled with hope and open doors. So as you go, I'll catch your eye and will you from my heart to fly.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. It touches my heart, and I get moisture in my eyes each time I read and hear it.
You and me both.
Yeah, I mean, just it so captures those emotions and that desire to fly and have those sturdy wings. So thank you for sharing that part with us today. I so appreciate it. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break, and as we do that, I want you to think about what Sheri has shared with us today, some of her thoughts of why she decided to bring it forward, how she recognized it was time, even her testing the waters a little bit, great ideas and ways that you can feel in if this is the time to bring it forward. And I hope that as you felt her message as she shared today from her heart, from her book, that first section with you, that desire to fly, that desire to have sturdy wings, that this gives you a lift, a boost to bring your message and your work forward. And we'll continue our conversation in just a moment.
Follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. That's EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Streaming live, the leader in Internet talk radio, VoiceAmerica.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that time to pause and reflect, maybe capture some thoughts and ideas that are bubbling up in you as you have listened to Sheri share her experience and her wisdom and her insight and why she brought certain things forward, why they were important in the illustrations or in the messaging that she was bringing forward. I think it's great to check in on what you're bringing forward and what are important elements to include messages maybe said directly or not directly, but still included in how you're bringing your message, your work forward. Really important to think about and reflect on when you're thinking about your cover design, the method, the way that you're bringing things forward, that it's really in alignment and on purpose for all that you're wanting to do and the lives you're wanting to touch and bringing it forward, being very purposeful and deliberate about it. And I love that that Sheri has done that. And she's been so deliberate in some of the ways that she's tested the waters and certain things. She had such clarity on what she wanted included and not included in the illustrations. And one of the things that we didn't get a chance to talk about yet today that I know is important in your illustrations is the backpack. I'd love for you to share a little bit of what is the backpack and why is that significant and important for your book and the messages in it?
I'm so glad you asked about that. The backpack is almost a character by itself, but the child has a backpack in virtually every page of the book. And initially I thought about, as the child grew, that maybe the backpack would transition to a briefcase once the kid was off doing it, his or her own thing in the world. But after rethinking that, I realized, the book is actually coming from the imagination of the parent or the loved adult in the child's life. And we parents and we adults often still visualize our children with that backpack on their back. So they're still our kids no matter how old they are. So the backpack got a reprieve and got to stay in the book. Yeah, true. So it's a literal and a figurative idea. It's literal because, we know kids carry backpacks to school. I know I spent hours picking out just the right backpacks for my children when they were younger. Figuratively, though, I guess it's that we carry things with us every day of our lives. We carry what we learned from our homes of origin. We pick up new things, new ideas throughout our lives, throughout that winding path. And I feel like it's our toolbox, except it's in the form of a backpack. So, like I said, the backpack got a reprieve and stayed throughout the book, no briefcase, and it just really represents the tools that we carry with us daily, the things we bring from our youth, and the things we pick up along the way.
I love it. I love it. And that we get to carry that with us and dig into our toolbox, dig into our backpack whenever needed. And then maybe making sure, because I know when I was young, my backpacks got bigger and heavier.
Right.
And sometimes there were things kind of crumbled in the bottom that didn't need to be there anymore or no longer needed some of those things. And so I love that visual of remembering to check our backpack, check what's in our toolbox, and make sure we're not carrying around old tools that aren't needed or things that just crumbled into the bottom, but really those things that are on purpose and of service to us, remembering we have that backpack and those tools because we forget sometimes. So I love that.
Right, absolutely.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm glad you kept the backpack and it didn't graduate.
I am too. In hindsight, it was such the right thing to do. It just, when I think about the rest of the book, and even as the child has grown up and you see that backpack on the child, it is, it doesn't look awkward. And I know I keep referring to the child as the child, but that's another thing that was very, very intentional in the book is that I tried to make the two characters, the adult and the child, be sort of gender neutral because I wanted it to resonate with moms, dads, grandmothers, grandfathers, sons, daughters. So I tried to keep the two characters, gender neutral and leave that to the reader's discretion.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I love that. And I know most of the images, if not all, are from the back, right? We don't see the face. Is that correct? Most of them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, really, really powerful. I love that. So it creates that engagement and personalization by the reader.
Right.
As they're enjoying it. Now, our time goes so quickly, and I want to make sure you have an opportunity to share where people can get your beautiful book if they are leaning in, want to get a copy. What's the best way for them to do that?
So the ebook is currently available on Amazon. And the paperback will be available on Amazon probably within about a week or so. I will also have the hardback books that I will keep in store. And if people would like me to sign a copy, then I would be happy to do that and mail the book to them that way. Perfect. But definitely on Amazon.
Great. And then what's the best way for people to connect with you and go deeper?
So the best way is through my email, and that's my first name, Sheri, Sheri, @creativerights.com. Now, before you get all excited, Creative Rights is spelled creatively. It's CRE, the number 8, IVEWRITES, creativerights.com. So if you want to email me, I will email you back. I'd be happy to talk to you.
Wonderful. Thank you for making yourself available. I appreciate that. And then as you reflect back on our conversation, you think about those authors or potential authors that are listening, any final piece of advice or tip that you would like to share with them today?
Actually, yes, there is. So, if you aspire to write a book, if you aspire to be an author of any kind, but you're hesitant like I was for so very long, probably longer than I needed to be or longer than I should have been, I think I want you to remember that if you feel like you have something to say, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to say something that others may want or need to hear. And I think that's pretty important because we all come at things from, different perspectives in life. And even though you might question yourself, putting yourself out there, because I'll tell you, it's not always easy, I can just about guarantee you that you'll be glad you did, because you're going to help somebody. You're going to make sure that that people feel validated when your words resonate with them.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I so appreciate that. And listeners, I hope you take that message to heart, that if you're feeling that pull, you're feeling that prompting, that you can really make a difference by leaning in and being willing to push past any uncertainty, or sometimes how we can talk ourselves out of things, and really be willing to take that stand for another and share your message. Be willing to bring it forward. It makes a big difference. So as we bring our time together to a close, I want to encourage you to take a couple moments after the show and write down your thoughts. Write down some of what you've learned today, some of a step that you're going to take to help bring your message, your work forward. And know that we are always here to support you, to cheer you on, and any way that we can help answer questions about the publishing process or about bringing your book forward, we're always happy to do so. You can always reach out to us at Rebecca@yourpurposedrivenpractice.com or meetwithrebecca.com, and we're happy to support you and answer any questions that you may have. Know that your message is needed. You feel that pull and call for a reason. And one of the biggest gifts you can give the world is more of you. So be willing to find a way to take a step to bring your message forward and share it with those who need it most. Have an amazing week, everyone. We'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall-Greider for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.